All right. Hi, everyone, all of my year two teachers. You have come to the final teaching lesson for the Eucharist unit, so well done. There's likely a few more things that you'll be doing in your class before the end of the year, but this will bring us to the end of these kind of lessons that you need to prepare out of the St. Mary's Press teaching guide. So really good job. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. So as you have doubtless realized, the Eucharist unit is actually kind of the Mass unit. So each lesson from lesson 1 to now lesson 10, we've been working through the parts of the Mass from the introduction rites to through the liturgy of the Word, liturgy of the Eucharist, and now to the concluding rites. And through the Mass, we've been learning more and kind of thematically through this unit what is happening, as far as standing, being penitential, being prayed over, recognizing Christ in the priest and the introductory rites, sitting and reclining in our seats, listening to God in His Word from the Bible in the liturgy of the Word. We're literally, kneeling in slight discomfort and vulnerability while Jesus comes into the bread and wine in His true body and blood, making Himself super vulnerable in the consecration, and then queuing up to receive him in his body in the communion rites. And now here we are, after praying, receiving God's body, we're at the concluding rites, and we have been fed by the Mass in order to be sent into the world. And that's what happens in the concluding rites. Concluding rites are actually pretty quick. So after we're done with the communion rites, and everything on the altar is very respectfully kind of cleaned up and put away. And we rise and we're prayed over. We listen to announcements, which aren't really part of the Mass per se. And then we are sent out. That is what happens. It's bam, 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 really quick through the concluding rites, which is interesting. So that is really the topic of chapter 10. So today's lesson is going to describe how Jesus showed us that we should serve others, again, being sent. We recognize some big and small ways that we can serve others. That children, even in their small capacities, their small agency, can do good to others, to show Jesus to others through their actions, and to identify that the concluding rites as a part of the Mass are where we are sent forth to share God's love with others. As always, this chapter 10, we are sent forth to share love. Read that background focus statement. This is a good way to begin your preparation. And just like all other lessons, we're starting with that first page, praying together. We're going to be doing some brainstorming about the word kindness and thinking about what is a way that people can show kindness to them, thinking kind of personally, and then having them brainstorm how do they show kindness to others. So it's kind of helping them to empathize with the kindness actions, by going first with like, how do I feel kindness? How can I show kindness to others? And sharing as a class their ideas. When we jump into the Bibles, again, use that biblical notation, the literal citation, to let them navigate to the point in their Bible where they need to be in John chapter 13, verse 1. This is going to be when Jesus washes the feet of the disciples. So you'll be looking at the pictures, doing a little bit of a prep work, and doing reading and doing the understand it section. And this is going to help you to expound upon the fact that what Jesus was doing was kind of shocking. A master does not serve and clean the feet of their disciples. It's very backwards in their time. Jesus was demonstrating the way that he wants us all to live, is he doesn't want us to be served. He wants us to serve others. And as you get through your Bible kind of segment, you work on the activity sheet. You're going to be going toward your core learning activity. So you have a few choices here. The main one in your book is about hand washing. And the way that you do this hygienically is get a nice big bowl, have a pitcher of water, and you just pour the water over the hands and then let the students dry their hands with a towel. And it's a ritual cleansing, so it's not really meant to like be sanitizing per se. It's about the ritual action of cleansing. So you can go about doing that if you would like, and having them wash each other's hands. The other options that it gives you is a couple of video things. And the other that I like at the top is an act of kindness. It's not a brainstorm, and because you've already done an act of kindness brainstorm, but you have the kids think of one act of kindness that they can easily do on a daily basis. Things like smiling or saying hello, opening the door, complimenting someone gives you some ideas right here. And you are going to have them slip that into a bowl, mix it up, and then everyone's going to pick one. And then the challenge is for them to try to implement that act of kindness, before they go to bed or very quickly the next day. So either one of those, the core one in the book, the washing of the hands, or that brainstorm about acts of service, is to help the kids to think about serving others. That Jesus showed us that we don't just think of ourselves, we should think of others, and we should show love and kindness to others through our words and actions. So that's really what you're processing from this. And then we're moving on to the find section where we really dig into the parts of the Mass. And you are, explaining that the concluding rites is about sending us out. So there's a nice little tips in your guide to kind of frame this. And you should also kind of recontextualize how the Mass is preparing us to be sent out. So your teacher guide has little bullet points that you can review here. And I think, you can finish the activity that they the other part of their activity sheet. Sorry, my brain got diverted for a moment. You possibly will have some extra time, and I think that's a good thing, because what I would like you to do with extra time is go to that keywords part of their booklets. I think it's keywords of the Mass, the order of the Mass. I wish I had a book with me right now so I could show it off. I think it's the order of the words of the Mass. And that will be exactly what it says. It'll have all the different parts of the Mass that you've reviewed, from the introductory rites all the way through the concluding rites. And you should spend some time just reviewing everything with them. So going through, having different volunteers name the parts of the Mass, maybe ask them what the posture is at those sections, see if people can remember, and just reviewing the Mass as a whole. And the emphasis is that by the end of Mass, we have been fed by God in order to be sent out to bring others to Him in our small way. And we do that first and foremost by serving others, by being kind. That's something that people of all ages can do. And evangelism is about us living our lives in a faithful but normal way, and not being ashamed of our faith in the world. It's not about, banging a drum or being a sandwich sign on the 16th Street Mall. Evangelization is, not hiding the fact that we are faithful believers, but just being normal, being kind, and being open, serving others. That's what brings people to God. And that's something that people of all ages, including you and I, can do a little bit better. And the lesson wrap up, you'll want to reframe kind of the purpose of this lesson. And today, since this is your last lesson, you're going to be kind of folding everything up, all of their folder, all of anything that remains in their folders, and their Bibles will go back with them home. So I want you guys to get those Bibles back home with those kids, because those are their Bibles. If a family like rejects and was like, nope, we have too many of these children's Bibles at home, we are fine. That happens occasionally, in which case bring it back to me, because we have a place for what I call forsaken Bibles. We don't want abandoned or forgotten Bibles. We want everyone to have the choice to bring their Bible home, and hopefully to bring it home gladly. But if a Bible is rejected by a family, bring it to me and we end up using it in the classrooms. We don't give it back to another student. We try to make it just open and available as like extra spare Bibles. So just so you guys know, keep paying attention to your communications from me because we're not done yet, but this is the last lesson that you need to prep in this particular way. So thank you guys for everything that you have done for these students in the course of this year, and for some of you, the course of many years that you've been helping to share the faith with these young ones. Jesus smiles upon your work. Say a prayer and prep for this lesson. You're going to do great. Okay, bye.